format. YouTube, fix this shit, dude. Folks. Yeah, it is a spoof. I saw that. I just saw a little clip of Life of Brian from somebody new. Out that movie more to find out what my life's about. I'm praying for your dogs. I love my fur babies. folks, welcome back. I told you I would be back. Hi, Cindy. Hop in, Sin. We're praying for your doggy. Okay. All right, let's get this show on the road. Here we are, January 12th, 2025. All right, while that's loading up, take a moment to thank you guys for taking a moment of your precious time to be a part of this precious family. I was going to go live a little earlier. We were waiting for this rocket to launch, and it was a dud, so as soon as that faltered, well, time to go live. So here we are, not much to really look at, spits and sputters here. We have this spire region right here, this long one that's growing right here. You can see this long duration event starting to take place up here, boiling and roiling. So we might see activity out of that in the future here, but let's just kind of whiz right through this because I want to get to the spiritual report and start connecting some dots. Solar flux indice 158, up a couple points. Sunspot numbers 99. We're in the green there. That's good. Even though we're up 17 spots, it's still below the cautionary. Okay, geomagnetic forecast for the next 3 days is all clear, and you can see we aren't very fluxed. Okay, not really much to zoom into except for this little spike right here, which I know you guys hate it, but we're going to do it anyway. We're going to come over here, refresh this. You guys don't want to see this, but tough. We're doing it anyway. See right here in this region, something's starting to come out of there. That looked like a little triangle right there. What the heck? All right, here we go. Let's capture this here. Okay, opening frame right here is 048. Something going on right here. I'll let you be the judge of this too. Let me kind of boom, get these next frames plucked off here, if it will, please. I don't know. I'll let you guys be the judge of this really quick. Let's just zoom into this really quick. Hard to tell. Flow's a little weird. There's this spike coming off this way right here. There could be a little triangle-shaped object in there. Kind of hard to tell. But once we put it into motion here, whoops. While zoomed in there, I'll let you kind of take a peek at that. See what you think. And it looks just like a little spit and sputter. There's possibly something in there, but nothing new at this place. So not much to look at tonight. Okay, so let's get on with the get on. Okay, so back over here, just a little bump there, a little triangle shaped craft popping out of there, whatever it is. All right, your explorer potential 10%. Your auroras right now starting to get a little enhanced here. There's a little tiny sliver of yellow going in there. Meanwhile, in the southern hemisphere, not all that bad. Okay, your KP here is up to 4. Okay, so we have a little geomagnetic enhancement, little energy hitting us right now. Okay, it's not a lot, but it's a little uptick in our KP right now. Okay, the only one is 3947. That old one's still there, is beta gamma and growing. Chronograph imagery is back online and just in time for Comet Atlas. The Bright Comet Show is now entering LASCO C3's field of view and will be visible for the next several days. We will get a better look at this as the days progress. Solar activity during the past 24 hours was technically at moderate levels with one low-level M flare detected. Along with several minor C flares, some of this activity appears to be centered around the potential active region now approaching the northwest limb, so stay tuned for a solar ham. Okay, here's your little comet entering the frame there. Solar filament. Okay, there's this big solar filament that's still out there. I want to go open this tracker just to see if they're tracking anything. Nah, all quiet. Good. Moving on. We're just going to go ahead and do the Schumann now. Actually, you know what? Let's check out spaceweather.com really quick here. The lunar occultation of Mars is tonight. It's a must-see in the backyard astronomy event of 2025 so far. On Monday night, January 13th, the full moon will pass directly in front of Mars for a lunar occultation visible across North America. So check out the infographic and the Astronomical League Observatory alarm tips. Okay, so the comet you can see in broad daylight. You don't see this very often. Here's your comet at 11 a.m. this morning at 5 degrees of the sun. Okay, this one, very big, very long tail. It's going to do a big display on the C3, okay? And sometimes these sun divers actually seem to collide with our objects. This one I don't think will. We'll watch it, we'll monitor it, but wouldn't that be something if one of these bigger objects arrived and interacted with the sun just as this was going, through there, and it gets taken out? It wouldn't be a surprise here, okay? All right, moving on now to our Schumann. Schumann's been pretty cool lately, been pretty quiet. So let's just pop it up really quick so you can all see. A little sigh of relief, okay? Some good continuity there, not a bunch of spikes. What I'm looking at is this activity down here at this lower band. See it starting to grind here. I think this is magma on the underside of the crust, because it flows like in currents and in rivers and in streams and in flows. So when it flows along the underside of the crust, it kind of grinds too. So I think that's what these higher frequencies are here. Is before it hits the crust really slows the frequencies down, and then you get to your lower frequencies here up above this line. So anything that's here at this line and below are your higher frequencies. And I think right about here is where we're seeing this activity, because this line seems to pop up now and then, okay? And that's about the only thing that would explain why we're seeing something at this frequency interacting and grinding, kind of in accordance with this other grinding up above. Okay, so you can see we've had little pressures here and there, some magma flowing around, shifting around underneath the crust there, it looks like. Okay, so now let's come on over to our null school and get schooled in the null. Okay, we're just going to go right to our SO2 report. Okay. Oh, fires. All right, here we go. Yep. Did we get fires on there? Okay, it's on there. Okay, so the fire activity up here in Canada seems to have kind of died down a little bit. There still is one. A couple of them. There's one right here. We'll get the winds on. Take the winds off. Thank you. Take the winds off. There we go. All right, so here up in Canada, you can still see we got a couple little fires, one right there. Where's the other one I just saw? Oh, up here. Okay, so these SO2 emissions come out of the ground at thousands of degrees, so hot that they cause spontaneous combustion at the emission site, okay? And if there's any kind of plants around, they'll dry out really fast and then ignite. So we're seeing forest fires sparked in the wintertime by SO2 emissions, okay? Most of you people here at this channel have understood this for a while, and you can see how it works. You understand how it works. That activity had dropped down into the lower 48, into Washington, Idaho, Oregon for a while, but that's diminished. Now it's kind of pushing, we're getting SO2 emissions down now through California. Okay, along the coast here the Bay Area, down through the valley, and then this very strong site here where our fire is, okay? And they're not showing the fire tonight, but there was a big yellow dot there for the last couple of days, okay? And it's all because of a heat plume that's encroached in this area, and this like eyeball type structure right there that's in that region. All right, so there's your SO2 emission sites. Now, here we are, our country divided. See, it's bleeding out on one side, very porous crust, all kinds of perforations in the crust here, so it just oozes right out of the ground. Meanwhile, this side is more granite, mountainous, thicker crust, so any kind of perforations are volcanic in nature. Okay, so there is your SO2 emissions looking like right now. And we're having this encroachment now into the California region along the coastline up here at the Bay Area and stuff. Okay, so it'll correlate to the other, you'll see when we get to the thermals here. Okay, meanwhile, looking down through Mexico, they got all kinds of sites going on. Over here, Cuba, Jamaica, Dominican Republic, all of these islands are all volcanic islands, every single one of them emitting pretty good strong emissions of SO2. So you go down the coast of South America, you can see all these are individual sites. This isn't a plume blowing down the coast, okay? And we've seen our little fulcrum point here be a weak spot, and there's a good, strong little emission there. This one looks a little lower tonight. It's blending in with something else here. Okay, this other dot's kind of blending in with this one now. It used to be more independent, but different shifts in the strata every time there's an earthquake or a volcanic, event in the area. It can change your pressure in the region and open up a site or close up a site, shifting stuff in the strata a little bit, And then there's your plume coming out into the Pacific right there. Now we got different kind of winds going on down here in the southern hemisphere. They're in their summertime, so you'll see that here in a minute once we get into our plumes. Okay, there's Hawaii still emitting SO2 and Volcano going off at Kilauea there. Okay, I'm gonna take the fires off now. The blue thing over there, nope. Oh well. Okay, whoops, we need to back up for their time schedule 8 hours ago. All right, so as we zoom into this region, the big bruise on the face of the planet, much like our East Coast side, it's very porous over here. Okay, very compact over here. So there's old seabed, old seafloor with a bunch of water that stood there for a long time, pushed it down and compacted that. So that region doesn't bleed very much because it's so densely packed. Meanwhile, all the pressure coming out in this region right in here, huge emissions. They're probably having fissures and cracks and stuff grow, opening up. It's also poisonous gas. So it'll well, it makes them sick. Then you got your Taiwan here, your fulcrum point on the plate boundary area, and it's got some strong SO2 emissions coming out of it. Here's Japan. It's a volcanic island. Okay, look at Korea's, North and South Korea starting to fill in there. Okay, then we come over, you see India's following suit. They have strong emission sites. This wind blows up against the Himalayas and can't push this gas over, so it just kind of recycles around here. So their area is darkening up. Meanwhile, the Middle East is filling in here too. All these little areas and all of it blowing around has really turned this area all purple now. Okay, and they're seeing methane emissions as well, which is coming out of the ground on fire. Okay, all through Europe and Russia, they have this issue. Here's the Sahara Desert. It doesn't have this issue because there's a bunch of sand packed on there right now, so very dense, so the emissions can't get out. But down below there, in our little rift zone right through here, where we're seeing earthquake activity in Africa now, see our SO2 emissions starting to blossom here. We got these two good plumes going there, so pressure is pushing underneath here. Magma wants to come out, but it's too thick and syrupy, so the gas pushes out instead. A couple of spots here in South Africa picking up there. All right, let's come on over here to Java really quick. This is another kind of relief valve on the planet. Lots of volcanoes, lots of SO2 emissions, earthquake activity, kind of relieving pressure in this region. Tonight, you can see a lot of this gas is blowing across the straits, so if you shoved all that color back in here, it would be a lot darker than it appears. Probably look more like this spot at the tip of India. Look at this. Jeez. Okay, as we kind of come around here to our plate boundary system, here's Fiji. Deep quake region, and Fiji itself emitting SO2. It's a volcanic island. Here's your home reef island that just popped up from the ocean floor. It was a seamount that grew and grew and finally broke the surface of the water, and now it's emitting SO2. So a new little island there. And then we have this little pencil shaped island with the 2 emission sites that relieves pressure as it comes up to the plate boundary system here, keeping quake magnitudes and activity lower, keeping it lower. Okay, you guys understand how that works. Then up through here we have volcanoes and all kinds of different activity going on here, relieving pressure as well. Okay, so now we're gonna do just really quick. Let's check out our sandstorm really quick here. Okay, good. There we go on my mouse. So big sandstorm, very intense plume right here, blowing out, spreading across the Atlantic Ocean as usual, creeping all the way up past Iceland. You can see that this gas or this sand, these particulates have made their way all the way up to the North Pole now. Excuse me. Let me get there. All right. So as we look down, you can see sand all over the place, very intense plume going on here in Saudi Arabia, more blowing up through the Caspian Sea area. Okay. And it looks like it's kind of focused its attention on another region now. All right, let's get on with the get on. So we did that, we did this. Let's do the ocean sea surface temperature anomalies now. Okay, so hopping in here. Here's your East Coast. There's vents on the ocean floor, seamounts, whatever they're emitting, either hot water, magma, hot gases, even heavy metals and radioactive isotopes possibly. We have this region here in the Gulf with these 2 little flare-up spots right there that are keeping wind patterns at a certain direction. Well, it kind of influences the weather right there. Okay, now let's get into our LA region where everybody's concerned about. Let me put this right here, and there's your current or yesterday's, okay, because this map is a day behind. It takes it takes a day to download all this data and complete a map, so it's a day behind. So what we're going to do is we're going to pull up the calendar here, and as you can see down the corner here, when I put it on the arrow, that's minus a day. So we're going, this is the 10th right there that it's on. So the 10th was the last day that it recorded. So here's the 9th. You see it flared up, but the 8th, it was less. The 7th, it was stronger. But the 6th, like that, it was stronger and less on the day before on the 5th. So here we are at the 5th. Now we're going to go marching forward right through what we went through. So starting the 5th, it was this plume was right there. And then it intensified on the 6th, diminished on the 7th, diminished on the 8th, intensified again on the 9th, diminished on the 10th. Okay, so this ebb and flow, this back and forth, the pressure kind of growing and relieving, growing and relieving, growing and relieving. And it's too bad we can't have this up to our current conditions right now or yesterday, because this is vital information. We need to know if this plume under here has grown more or not. And you can see it's kind of hard to tell because it's ebbing and flowing. It's going, swelling and decreasing. So if we went through that swelling and decreasing pattern, starting here at the 4th, there's the 5th that increased, the 6th that increased, 7th decreased, 8th decreased, 9th increased, 10th will be decreased. That should be an increase. It's following a pattern, but it's not. So, and then maybe another decrease, hopefully. Okay, so that'll be the 11th. There's no data in for that one yet. So there's your latest little heat plume in that area and causing SO2 emissions right here on the shore or in this little area right here. And that's where our fire is. Okay. Meanwhile, as I pan back, look at how all this heat are running right up the coastline here, going all the way up here to this yellow spot up here off the Canada coast. So look at this big red wall going down the west coast right now. Okay. Now also I want to take this little marker right about there is your Juan de Fuca. It comes out, it zigzags up through here. Well, look how it's all filled in with red now. Okay. We used to have cold water intrusion in this area, and we don't anymore. Look at all the increase in heat in this area and along the shoreline. Okay, you know what that's going to mean? Increased activity in this region. We need some good earthquake activity here along the Juan de Fuca to diffuse some of this pressure and relieve some of that. Okay, let me take that out of there now. Meanwhile, as we look across the Pacific, you can see cold patch, hot patch, this whole line going across here, all your speckling. Japan here at our fulcrum point at Taiwan here. We have an emission site on the ocean floor that's relieving pressure right next to the fulcrum point. It's been keeping earthquake activity and magnitudes down at this fulcrum point here at Taiwan. Okay. Meanwhile, this region's starting to get some red growing in there. This used to have cold water inundation around Java and Sumatra here. There's still a little bit right there, but meanwhile, we got this activity going on the coast here. Okay, good enough. Let's hit the wind really quick here. Okay, we have these wind patterns correlating with your thermal anomalies on the ocean floor. Okay, I'm going to leave that. I'm going to let that sit there for a second. Hot air over hot water, cold air over cold water. Hot air rises, cold air rushes in to replace. So you see your weather patterns matching your heat signatures. Good morning, Christine. Welcome, everybody. Thank you for being here. All right. Okay, so here's your correlating conveyor belt weather patterns right now. And we've had this region up here, up in Alaska, start to heat up between Alaska and the Kamchatka region here. See all this heat growing in this region and over here and stuff. So activity is going to probably increase. We need some earthquake activity in here. These volcanoes are all going off right here, but still heat building. Okay, let me go ahead and let these play for a minute. Let your eyes see where all the motion's going, and let me zoom in a little bit better for you. There we go. Okay, so let's rotate around here. You can see that this hot water right here is causing flow to go this way. You got cold air that's wrapping around over this. Note how your air is coming down the west coast. It's not pushing across the country. It's hitting the coast and going down and going back out. Okay, so when we get this effect with the wind going down and turning and going out, it draws air from Nevada back around the bottom of the Sierras through the mountains through here, through this corridor. And you see, there's your Santa Ana winds, offshore winds blowing from the mountains out into the waters. Okay, and that's the reason why we have our high winds, why they are going in the direction that they are, is because of our heat plumes out here in the Pacific. See how this one's rotating this way? So it's taking weather and shoving it down the coast instead of pushing it across. There's this dome that's been over this region for a while, okay? And there's a reason. You can see cold air goes around it and drops down through the country, bringing cold down to Texas, down to Mexico, all right? So really crazy weather right now, all because of our heat plumes, all right? I'm gonna get into this now. I guess the currents first. Let's look around. Oh, here, really quick, down at the southern hemisphere. Okay, I'll put it right about there. So we have hot and cold, rotating. Hot, cold, rotating. Hot and cold, rotating. It's all over the place. This spot's so hot, it's just rotating on its own. Okay, so this is causing some severe weather down below here. All right, now something else we're going to do here. I wanted to do this last night, but we're going to change from the wind to the currents in the water. Okay, again, hot water rising, cold water rushing in to replace it. You see in vortex activity in your currents here? Do they happen to match the heat signatures? Dang. And then look at this. You got hot water, cold water coming smashing right into each other and changing direction. This water is going south. This is going north, and they meet up right here, split up, and start rotating right here. Hopefully you can see these directions. There we go. All right, so water and currents being affected now as well. And then watch this. We're going to take the currents. We're going to come over here to this. And this is going to really twist your melon. Seems like every single current out here is rotating around a heat structure. We go over here. Look at this. Okay, so your currents are matching these heat anomalies perfectly. And then we come down to this. Watch this right. Here. Okay, so from hot to cold, 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 hot to cold. So you're either hot or you're cold, because if you're lukewarm, I'll spit you out. All right, so now you're starting to see your heat structures really taking control of the currents. Okay, now they're taking control of the winds as well. All right, and now let's see if we can do this properly. Where's a good site to do it? Over there on the West Coast, I guess. Okay, so you see your air patterns as they are. That's the air, that's the wind at 850. Because we come over here, go to 850, and that's the pattern that we just saw. Okay, and that's your weather being stalled, holding up this storm here, holding up this storm here, bringing stuff up to the coast and lashing this area. Meanwhile, taking the rest, bringing it down and around, right? So it's affecting the weather patterns. So here we are. Oh, that's where it was. It was at, thank you, Lord. Okay, over here. Whoops, let it catch up. I want the current. There we go. Our wind patterns are pretty current there. So there's your current wind patterns right now. We're back a day there. So what I want to point out here is this storm here at Africa. Okay, it's pretty powerful. It's rotating away. We're here. Here's the surface winds. Okay, here's 1,000 feet. So we're going up in height. Okay, so there's 850 where most of your storm activity resides. Okay, so we got a very powerful storm right there. Let's keep going up in height. Still there at 700. Let's go to the lower jet stream. We're at the lower jet stream. This storm is so strong. It's reaching up to the level of the lower jet stream. Let's go to the upper jet stream. Well. Look at this. It's even affecting the upper jet stream. And as I pan back, you'll see that we are indeed at the upper jet stream level. Okay, your winds are, here's your upper jet. Way up high, this storm is actually having effects on the upper jet stream. Not the upper jet causing that storm, because when we come down to our 850, okay, there's your 850. Now what's causing this rotation? Well, let's come over to our sea surface temperature anomaly, shall we? And put the wind on there. Could it be the hot spot that's growing in between Africa and Madagascar here? Kicking up rotation in this vicinity because the storm is just, boom, moving right into that area. And it's pretty powerful. It's affecting the upper jet stream. Come back over here to the Pacific Northwest here. Okay, you got your winds on. That's at 850. Let's put it back on the air over here. Okay, so there's your 850. Let's go up to the lower jet stream. So your lower jet stream here at LA is actually coming down the coast and going kind of onshore or parallel and crossing over. That's not what's really carrying the weather through there. That's your lower jet, sorry. There's your upper jet. There's your lower jet. But then you come to 850, and that's where your weather's following this, not the lower jet stream. Okay, so new component in our weather, the thermals on the bottom of the ocean floor. Now, let's go up to our polar vortex really quick. We haven't checked in on this in a minute. Our inflow for it is coming across here and going up in there. Look at this sub-vortex. What is going on here? That's taking this cold air from here and really driving it down low here. So some of this cold air that's going to come off here is going to get wrapped around and get driven down into this region. Watch out. We could possibly see some severe weather in that region maybe. That is a different vortex. I've never seen that before. Meanwhile, there's your main one. We have another sub-vortex going on over on this side. Look at that one rotating there. So we got 3 polar vortexes at the moment. And it should be just one main one. We're pretty much into winter now, so that main one should be well established without any kind of other ones interfering yet. All right, let's move on. We got other stuff to take care of. Whoops, I want to leave it on the ocean there. And we see temperature anomalies. Whoops. Let's go down to 850 there. I'll leave it on the ocean. Sea surface temperature anomalies with the wind off. There we go. Now let's get on with our earthquake report. So here we go. We're over here, our deep quake region, Fiji. Remember we saw SO2 emissions coming out of it? I wouldn't be surprised if it goes volcanic soon. Meanwhile, we have down at depth, way down at 607, a 5.4. Usually we're seeing a 4.5, a mid-range 4 down at depth. This is basically an entire magnitude higher, a mid-range 5. So we've seen a full magnitude uptick at depth, triggering 4.6 along the plate boundary there. I showed you SO2 emissions, volcanoes going off through this region, keeping earthquake activity down. We come into the island, though, and now we have a 5.0 down at 82. That's on this volcanic feature. 4.7 at 35. 5.4 down at 540. That's a deep quake for that region right there. So A 4.3 at 157. So this one right here, this is another 5.4 way down deep. Okay, so we've had two 5.4s down at depth. Okay, that's a full magnitude uptick way down there. So we're going to see energy coming up from down below, trying to crack to the surface here. So we got a new round of pressure coming up from down below. Meanwhile, 4.5 at the surface there. I want to come up here. Get out of there. No quake activity around Thailand. We have that hot spot that opened up right there, relieving pressure. Come on, there we go. 5.2 at the surface. Again, with the almost mid-range 5 right there. Now at the surface, not down deep. Now we're seeing, at the surface here. Next door is a 4 down at 464 and a 4.5 down at 416. So a couple of deeper quakes right here. Mid-range 4s going on right here, and then triggering a 5.2 at the surface there. We'll get into that region in a minute. Over here, at our site at Nepal, another 4.6 today. And let's just kind of pop in here really quick. I want to do a 1 week on that. 7-day all magnitude. Okay, so over the past week, since we have had this quake here, we've seen quite a little flurry of earthquakes going on here. Here's your main one, the 7.1, 7.2 that triggered all this. And then all these 4s. There's a 5 right there. There's a 5. Okay, so a bunch of mid-range 4s and 5s in that region. And then today, another 4.6 at the surface there triggering. So it's still active in there. Okay, get that out of there and that out of there and move forward. Forward march. Okay, nothing around the fulcrum point area right there today. Meanwhile, up here by Italy, well, more of 4.3 at Metis, Italy, at the surface right there. So lots of not plate boundaries, but a lot of faults and fault structures in these mountains, crevices and cracks and stuff. So you're seeing a little weak spot open right here at Italy, and we saw temperature in that region there. Okay, come here, Italy. Okay, right up in that bay, right up there by the mountains, right up there. So this increase in pressure creeping up through there. Watch out around this area too, because here at the Black Sea, we have a 4.2. That's down at 44. There's some volcanic feature going on under this lake here. Okay, so stuff to watch out for. Meanwhile, I think, here's an oddball quake right here. 4.4 at the surface. No plate boundaries. No, like, fracture zones. You can see some of this drainage coming off of here, kind of runs down and creates little channels. But that's kind of your diverse quake right there for the day. Mid-range 4, the surface here off of Norway. Okay. And if we can, let's go over here, take a peek at what the temperatures are like over in Norway. Well, our quake's right on the cold spot. Look at this right here. But that was yesterday, so maybe there was a little increase in pressure or something in that area, or, quake activity kind of keeping it cool in there. My theory is the reason they're throwing objects at the sun is to destabilize the crust, making it more flexible to polar shift. Interesting theory. All right. You couldn't throw anything at the sun and phase it. It has to be something that's bigger than the sun in order to, overpower the sun or to phase it because it's just so big and so powerful. All right, meanwhile, you can see all these thermal anomalies out in this region here. We're getting back to earthquakes, though, Brian. Okay, let's do South America really quick. Fulcrum point on land, 5-1 down at 82. Okay, so see this structure, if you're pushing this way, see there's a fulcrum point right here on land, out here on the plate boundary too. So there's your 5-1, little uptick in magnitude for that region there. Up in here too, this was 4-8 at 35, 4-8 at 35. There was another one there. There it is. Yeah, we had a 6.2 here today in Aquila, Mexico. Aquila. So a 6.2, and then this couple other little 4.8 and a couple of 4.8s after it. So out of there, please. Relieving pressure in that region. I'm sure there's some temperature increasing in that area. Look here, come on, Coco's plate. Ooh, look at that spot right there. Is that where we're at? Just, well, a little more up here. Right there. Okay, so let's we'll talk about Africa yet. Go do Africa really quick. Just a few quakes here today, but it's still rumbling. That's an indicator that there's still pressure down there. 4.9 at the surface. Come on, guys. 4.4 at the surface. 4.5. So a couple of mid-range 4s and a 5 there. All around this fumarole area. All kinds of little volcanic fumaroles and stuff around this area. So this rift kind of coming to life. This big old feature right here too. We come over to Africa over there. We got a little bit of heat up at this part, but the whole horn of Africa kind of cool around it, but heat down below here. So when we come back to this, heat down below in this area, cold around this area, and heat up in here. So there's heat at the top of the crack and heat at the bottom of the crack. So we've got to watch this area. It's going to remain active for a while, I believe. Everything's going to remain active for the rest of this duration. So here we go. 4.494 fulcrum point, 4.4251, and 4.4. All a bunch of evenly distributed magnitudes all along that area, keeping down the big magnitude quakes, relieving pressure there. Okay, now we can get into America. Nothing around the Kamchatka right now. Remember, this whole region up here is starting to turn red and get pressure building up in this region. All kinds of little microquakes, but our current magnitude is 1.2. So just a bunch of little microquakes through there. Now, as we come down into the Juan de Fuca, here we've had a little quake activity at the fulcrum point. A 3.0 at the surface like that is good. We need that. We need to relieve pressure in this region. Don't be surprised we start seeing quakes along this little band here because we have heat building. Remember I showed you all along this little, inside this red line in the shoreline right there. So don't be surprised we start seeing, increase in there. I'm surprised we don't have any kind of quake activity around our volcanoes right now. But as we come back in, 3 there, and then right here we have a 1.7. So it's a little bit, we could use some more, like I said, mid-range 4 to 5, nothing too big. We don't want anything too big to snap off, but we do need something to relieve that pressure out there. And also to change up those weather patterns. Because when we come out here, you see how we have the setup right now. Get that wind back on there. Okay, and with this rotating vortex, if we don't have a change in pressure or something, it's going to continue to do this, and the Santa Ana winds are going to continue to blow offshore. All right, and it's going to keep this area dry. If they want rain, if they need those wind directions to change, an onshore wind would be much more preferable because at least it's got moisture in it. Here, this offshore flow is coming out of the deserts of Nevada. It's a dry, warm wind blowing into that region. So it's all because of this rotation, this oscillation out here. And any kind of like earthquake activity out here could lessen the temperatures and change this structure. Okay, so an earthquake could change the weather now. You know, that's why I said we could use some good mid-range 4 to 5 out there to relieve this heat, change up this structure weather pattern so we get air to come in on from onshore instead of offshore. You guys grasp this stuff. It's easy stuff. I can't believe they got everybody fooled. Okay, now as we come into the Bay Area, you can see some of this. You see your plate boundary comes in like this and then turns. Energy wants to go in a straight line. It doesn't like turning a corner like that, so it pushes inland. Here's your inland quake at 2.2 coming into the geysers with current magnitude 1.5. Now, as we're coming into the Bay Area here, I showed you temperature right here off the coast and stuff here. So we're going to see an uptick around the Bay Area in quake activity. Here's your 3.5 Pleasant Hill at the surface with, come here, a 2.1, and then right currently another 1.8 here in Concord. Okay, so a little bit of activity because of pressure in the region pushing up underneath the plate bound or underneath these fault systems. Surprised we haven't seen some good, decent activity out of the San Andreas yet, because take the wind off one more time. Sorry, I'm all over the place tonight. This heat on the coast, it's not showing right up next to the coast because there's this black bar right there. But you can see this whole heat going all the way up the coast, coming all the way down. There's pressure under there. It's relieving some of it. We're having some, leak out and heat the water. But I'm telling you, there's a lot pressure going on in that region. And look, we have 3 little current quakes in the region. This is a new one right here, 1.5 Saratoga. So that just popped up when I started talking about it, and it's on the Pacific plate of the boundary line. Okay. So we're seeing quakes on this plate, on this side of the San Andreas. Meanwhile, just really small activity through there today, 2.9. Okay, very quiet through here, 2.0. That's good. That's good. We do need to see a little relief of pressure in that region, even though the temperature has kind of gone down. So with the magnitudes I just saw right there, I bet our next image will be even less. Maybe this red dot will disappear. It'll be less in intensity, and this teardrop structure right here the pressure underneath will subside a little bit. Okay. Coming over to our man-made perforations in the crust. We all understand how that works. Yes, 2.0 magnitude. Nothing at New Madrid. Nothing along the Craton. Magnitude check. 3. That's lower than normal right there. Okay, even here at Hawaii. Let's just pop in here. Every once in a while, we got to take a peek at what's going on next to the volcano. 3.1 today. 2.5. Bunch of mid-range 2s. There's a 3.1. So a little uptick in magnitude around here. There's still pressure underneath trying to get out of this volcano here. Okay, so that's all good. I was going to try to be faster at all this report and stuff. But we got to get to our 36 and 38 is still 74. So 74 active volcanoes, whether they're currently erupting or still semi-active, they're active. Okay. So if I'd have told you 7 years ago when all this stuff started happening to me, in fact, we're going to get into that tonight, the 7 years ago and what happened to me. So 70 years ago when all this started, if I'd have told you back then we'd have 74 volcanoes, you would have said, Brian, you're crazy. Well, here we are 7 years later, 74 volcanoes, and I am still crazy about you. Let's do this. White Island volcano down by New Zealand coming to life. White Island explosive activity continues. A plume that rose to 3,000 feet. Okay. That's the only thing they're reporting right now. But let's get into today, which is now yesterday, because, well, time flies at this channel, huh? Okay, there's your map of insanity. Note all the volcanoes through this area, kind of relieving pressure in that plate boundary area, keeping magnitudes down. Oh, and White Island right there. It's in that little kind of zone area too. So relieving pressure along those little plate boundaries right there. Meanwhile, up here in the Kamchatka, there's Shivalus, Kluchevskoy, Bizamani, Karaminsky, Alade, and Ebico, all currently erupting. Svarensky up here. We got Stromboli and Etna currently erupting. Down here we have a new Dauphin has been added to the map now, next to the currently erupting Erta Ale. Down in this other part of the rift zone, you got Nyiragongo, Nyiramagira, and now a new Oldiano Lengahi. Okay. So activity in that rift area right there. Don't forget Michael down here. We got Home Reef out here. We got Kilauea currently going off, and these new ones waking up out in the Aleutians there. And don't forget, we got Erebus here down on the Antarctica. Oh, that's what we forgot to show you. Down in Antarctica. Sorry, back to old school. You guys are like, God, we're almost there. Ocean, sea surface, temperature anomalies in Antarctica. Okay. What? Do you see what I see? Volcanic plumes in the waters off of Antarctica. Sure hope it doesn't like melt the ice underneath the shelf and that thing snap off. Look at it, it's surrounded. Here, let me turn the world around. Whoopsie, we're upside down, backwards, going forward here. It's hard to tell at this angle. Look how there's just this cold water barrier all tucked around Antarctica with all this heat all around it. And then you got these spots that are right up to the continent right there, out in these little volcanic islands out here. See these heat plumes building up right here. So when we come over to our volcano report and we show you that there is a currently erupting volcano down here, you can see why. Okay, Shivaluj, Canalone, Ebu, all these wonderful satellite images that you can't see, Jack. Oh, Nevada del Ruiz. Okay, Shivaluj, 14,000 feet. Canalone, 9,000. Ebu, 15,000. Pretty good heights out of Ebu there. I be with you. Usually we're at 7,000 or 8,000 together, right? Now we're at 15,000, so it's probably from drinking too much olive oil. Meanwhile, Luotobi is at 9,000 feet. Semaru in East Java, 14. Kilauea at Hawaii. The eruption remains currently paused. Monitoring data indicated gradual inflammation at the summit, suggesting magma is accumulating beneath the surface. Because the pressure down below, trying to make its way to the surface. Popocatépetl, 19,000 feet. Santo Guido, 13. Fuego, 14. Nevada, 21. And here's your list of insanity. Don't get desensitized by this list. This is sheer insanity. Okay. Currently erupting, or all these are currently erupting, and these are all currently active. Dauphin in Ethiopia added to the list, right? We just watched that sucker come to life and start spitting a vent of steam and ash out of the ground. Right next to Funtali in Ethiopia, too. Those two right next to each other. Krakatoa going off in the Sunda Strait again. Yeah, it's just on and on and on and on. It's just nuts. No wonder why the mainstream media doesn't report on it. They don't have enough reporters. or guts. Okay, so we did all that, and now we can do some tidbits. Our tropical tidbits, that is. Everybody put your hand out, ready for a tidbit. Open up, get your tropical little tidbits for all you guys that like models. Sorry, they're forecast models. Alrighty then. So, let's just kind of buzz through this really quick. Your current conditions, nighttime of the 12th. You can see your moisture down here, cold air up there. There's the morning of the 13th, cold air and that moist, warm air of the ocean coming into this cooler air in the morning time right there. Can have little pop-ups. Then it dissipates by noon, warms up. There's convection, nighttime, morning of the 14th, noon, convection, nighttime, 15, noon, convection, nighttime, 16, noon, convection, nighttime, 17, noon, convection. See how this cold air, this double low here, push way down in here. So all that cold air is coming over and pushing down into here. There's the nighttime of the 17th, noon, or no, that's the morning of the 18th, sorry. That was nighttime 17th, morning 18th, noon, convection, nighttime, a little bit of icing in between these air masses. Morning of the 19th, noon, convection, nighttime. Morning of the 20th, noon, convection, nighttime. 21, noon, convection, nighttime. 22, look down in here. That's way out there, but that warm, moist plume of moist air down here. You see this huge cold bubble dripping all the way down, going all the way out up in here, right? So this huge cold bubble of air is causing icing down in Georgia right there, starting like nighttime the 21st. See that right there? That is crazy. From Georgia up the East Coast, basically from the Florida Panhandle almost up the East Coast right there, an icing event in the morning of the 22nd. That's way out there, but you could see how that could happen. Otherwise, most of the weather, pretty much the same kind of pattern. See, there's another icing event, warm collided with cold again. So you guys might be, whoa, look at that. That's way out of January 28th. If something like that were to happen right there, that would cause some problems, that's for sure. Power outages, all kinds of snarls and snafus, but mainly nothing too concerning. That little burst in the south right there for now, but anything past 3 days is still kind of outside our predictability. All right, so there's all your astrophysics, your geophysics, your weather, all that great stuff. Now it's time to take a break from all that and get into, well, the spiritual report, or what some people call metaphysics. It's the physics of how you work, how your spirit, your body, the whole thing works. All right, and on tonight's spiritual report, we're doing something a little different, okay? Now, for a lot of you, some of you have already been through the dot work and you understand, or you've seen what's happened to me, or witnessed my testimony. So we're going to kind of do a little testimony here. This is more of what happened to me, how this all started. Okay, so we're going to come over here to my channel and just get plucking away. Let's type in wake up call. Now, on September 10th of 2017, my life changed. Prior to this date, though, some other stuff was going on in my life, all right? I've been a beer drinker my whole life, and I was an alcoholic. It became a problem, and I went to a rehab for recovery, and in this rehab, I found Jesus, all right? And it was interesting. After the rehab, I relapsed and went back again for a second tour because I wanted my sobriety. It was new to me. I'd never had sobriety before, so I wanted my sobriety. I went back to the same rehab. And after I came back to my family, everybody was just kind of like, so what? I was, hey, I'm doing it. I'm coming back, and let's really do this. But it wasn't taken seriously. And then all of a sudden, some paranormal stuff started happening to me. And right after all that stuff, about September time frame, September 10th, all of a sudden I was watching the skies, all right? Because in the Bible it tells you will see signs in the sun, the moon, and the stars. And I figured, well, I followed the sun. I monitor activity on the sun. I'm going to monitor it a little closer. At this time frame in 2017, we were going into grand solar minimum. The sun was supposed to be going dormant and supposed to be not dormant and burning out, but calming down. So at grand solar minimum, we get 3 X flares kick out in a row. Okay. X10s, X9s, big ones too. Okay. And that's way out of character for what the sun was supposed to be doing at that time. And I come home one day and I find this image right here sitting on my computer. And I'm like, oh, those are those solar flares. This is the 3rd X flare, but it wasn't as powerful as the other one. So kind of poo-pooed it. Everybody did kind of. It was a X5 or X9, or the other ones are like a 10 and a 9. So this one wasn't as powerful. It didn't capture the attention. But I saw this image sitting on my computer when I got home one day, and I'm like, how's that sitting there? I didn't even turn my computer on. So we're going to get into this, play this just for a second. If you can, Lord, please, can we have this volume?
Looks like Nibiru. It's got a wing coming off on this side and a wing
right there. All right.
Here's our object right here. Looks like Nibiru. It's got a wing coming off on this side and a wing coming off on that side. And that's not all, because behind that is this big object right here. This is what's causing our flares. Here's a conduit of plasma that is sucking off of our sun, going into this planet. Here's a damage ring or an impact zone on this planet right here. You can see Nibiru sticking out in front of it here. Run this backwards. You can see it goes backwards. There's the second flare. Back behind the sun, comes back out. There's the first flare. So the mass of that object is sucking material off of our sun, causing these solar flares. Boom, right there. Comes back behind the sun. Comes back out. Second flare. And third flare.
Okay, so right here.
Nibiru. It's got a wing.
All right, so
coming off on this side.
At this point, I am not a big Nibiru guy, all right? I've seen people taking pictures with their lenses, capturing lens flares, saying they captured Nibiru, right? Well, this is not a lens flare. This is a coronagraph for studying the corona of the sun. There's a coulter over the camera lens so it doesn't blind the camera. And here's this object with these fiery wings on it. Here's your Nibiru. Now, this image was sitting on my computer, and I'm like, what? I didn't turn my computer on. Why is it? It was frozen on there. I had to reboot the computer to, finally get it to turn off to, get this to go away. But in the meantime, I noted the date and everything and the object in there. Now, I heard something say to me, Brian, there's something wrong with this image. All right. Now, when I'm thinking, hey, I'm going to get something to eat, I'm going to do this, my thinking process does not refer to myself in the third person. Okay. Never had thoughts in the third person before. And when something said to me, there's something wrong with this image, I looked at it and looked at it. I couldn't tell what was wrong. I'm looking at the light, not the dark patch. Remember, I'm telling you about these darker objects that are wrapped in plasma. All right. So here we are, September 10th of 2017. This is 13 days before the Revelation 12 star alignment. Okay. These dates are important because this is the dragon standing before the woman, 13 days before, 13 days in front of the woman. Okay. So you're seeing Nibiru, the stellar core, whatever it is, okay, attracting plasma, showing itself on September 10th of 2017, and then right behind that is the bigger
Here's
object.
our object right here. Looks like Nibiru. It's got a wing coming off on this side and a wing coming off on that side.
There is one on that
That's
side,
not
by the
all,
way.
because behind that is this big object right here. This is what's causing our flares.
Okay, now this object was hard for me to see. Okay, the image was so big on my screen that I couldn't see this. I struggled for hours trying to keep looking, think the big picture, Brian. And I'm like, what? Keep looking, think the big picture. So I zoomed in on it. No, it was too close in your face. It wasn't until I kind of took a break and left my mouse sitting on this red play line. This little pop-up had taken the much bigger image and compressed it down to where you could see it. And when I came back in from smoking a cigarette, I saw the image in the pop-up, not the bigger image, but the one in the pop-up, and it was crystal clear. That's when my heart dropped, and I was just like, oh my God, it's so much bigger than the sun. The sun is represented by the white circle, not the black. The black is your occulter on the camera lens. The sun is the size of the white circle. This thing is still back at a 45-degree angle back into the page this way. It's not perpendicular to it right across from it. So this isn't even a fair size, a fair judgment of its size. But it is, at this point, at a 45-degree back behind the sun, it's much bigger than the sun. Now, we were talking about things that could influence the sun, right? Man shoots a rocket, you could throw the entire planet Earth on fire in a thermonuclear explosion at the sun, and it wouldn't even make it burp. Okay, so nothing we throw at the sun is going to affect it. The only thing that can affect the sun is something bigger than the sun. And here is your bigger than the sun object. Now, seems to be a configuration of 3 of these bigger ones with their little moons and planetoids that rotate around it. You know, they probably orbit this thing, and that's why every time we interact with it, it's a different configuration every time, because these things are constantly rotating around this one. All right, you're looking at a smaller little solar system here that's burned out. The star burned out, all the little planets are all burned out down to their cores. So this thing is like a vampire. It's in a phase of matter, like dark matter. It doesn't reflect light, it absorbs light. The only way you're seeing it is because light, so much of it is hitting it that it's draping over it. It's not absorbing all the light, but it's draping over it, silhouetting it like an invisible table. Okay, here's your round object right there. Okay, and I've shown you plenty of these on our openings and stuff. Okay, but this is where it all started for me. It was September 10th of 2017. Now, this is the dragon of Revelation 12. After I finally saw this, it took hours of struggling to finally see this. It didn't just pop up. Oh, I see it right away. So after I finally saw it, it was a mess. Okay, it was pretty intense. And then I hear this: everybody saw the woman, but they missed the dragon. So I have to warn you. Everybody's like, you got to warn them. So I'm like, all right, how do I do a video or what? So I did this video here, and after this video, I was a mess. Now, let's continue on here. So I want to get into a little bit of this really quick here. Can we have the Revelation 12 in 5 minutes? It was just up there. Okay, I just want you kind of really quick, brief history. Note the date.
On September 23rd, 2017, the sun, moon, and stars will align to fulfill a 2,000-year-old prophecy. And there appeared a great wonder in heaven, a woman clothed with the sun, and the moon under her feet, and upon her head a crown of 12 stars. And she, being with child, cried, travailing in birth, and pain to be delivered. And she brought forth a man-child, who was to rule all nations with a rod of iron, and her child was caught up unto God, and to his throne. Before you click off this video, I understand there's been many...
Okay, so there's all the layout of this and all the history and stuff, all the verses that go along with it. But I wanted you to note that date. September 23rd, 2017. We all recognize that this Revelation 12 star alignment happened. Everybody witnessed it. This should have stopped everybody's clock right there. A 2,000-year-old prophecy came true in the stars? I mean, it would be one thing if it was, rolling some dice or the cards all came out right. In the stars? This should have just grabbed everybody's attention, but it didn't. They were all busy looking for the dragon. Now, I'm going to tell you here, we got Revelation. Oh, we got to hold that picture there. Revelation 20 here. No, Revelation 12, my bad. The woman and the dragon. Okay, so I'm going to just read this really quick. Revelation 12, the woman and the dragon, a great and wondrous sign appeared in the heavens. The woman that you see in front of you, clothed with the sun and the moon under her feet, and a crown of 12 stars. She was pregnant and cried out in pain as she was about to give birth. Then another sign appeared in heaven. That's what throws everybody. The words, then another sign appeared in heaven, because it makes it sound like it happens after the woman. First there's a sign in heaven, then another sign appeared. An enormous red dragon with 7 horns and 7 tails and 7 crowns on his head. His tail swept a third of the stars out of the sky and flung them to earth. The dragon stood in front of the woman who was about to give birth. Okay, we know the woman who was about to give birth is the Revelation 12 lady, all right? The dragon stood in front of the woman, or in other Bibles it says it stood before the woman. Either way, either interpretation, in front of, before, the 10th is in front of the 23rd, the 10th is before the 23rd, the dragon is standing right here in front of the woman. So Revelation 12 came true, and it happened to me. Okay, this was shown to me because everybody saw the woman and they missed the dragon. You need to warn them. So I go about my warning thing there, okay? Now, so we made it through the Revelation 12 star alignment. Then as we get into, let's go with this. I make that video. It takes me a while to figure out what to say, how to present it. I've never done a video like that before. It's my first kind of at this. And then,
Lady's profile here.
Then I go out to my garage. After I finally figure out how to post a video on YouTube, it finally goes through all the screening process and blah, 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 blah. And I see it pop up on my channel. And I know that it finally made it out onto YouTube. My mission was complete. I warned everybody of the dragon. I wasn't feeling too hot that night, okay? As you could probably understand. And I went out to my garage out here and just fell on the floor, crying, screaming, and praying, figuring I was going to die. And here's this quick little video, okay?
Folks, welcome back. So I've been going through some of the old photos and running them through the filter, and this was one of the first ones that I had ever captured. And what's going on here is I'm here on my knees. I'm crying and screaming and praying, all three at once. I was in some extreme anguish. A paranormal traumatic event happened to me, something so unbelievable you guys wouldn't believe it. So if I told you, so I'm going to show you instead. So in this image here, I'm sitting here praying, and Mary's head appears right next to my head, and we're going to zoom in on this. You can't go in too tight on it, but she's looking down at my head this way.
Let's see, there's a pretty good. And you can make out her eye and her nose coming down, her shawl coming over, and it's in shadow right here. This is a shadow of the inside of her shawl going over her head like this. Here's her eye, her nose, her other eye would be on the other side there. Okay. You can't go in too tight on it. And then also is this white ball with an eye in it, this white orb with an eye in it.
It's not a drone.
Okay, and that's not all, because over here in this corner up here is an angel, a silhouette of an angel with his wings spread, with his back to us, standing in a shaft of light. Here's his head. There's a glow over the head. The wings are extended, and there's a feather coming off. The last feather coming off is crossing over these brown roof tiles in the background here. And you can make out there's an angel right here. And you can even see his head right here. Going a little bit tighter.
Excuse me.
There's the angel with his back to us and his wings spread. Yeah, you can see a lot better with the filter. Before it was really faint and it was hard to see. Same with this. This came out a little bit better here. Yeah, there's Mary looking down at my head because I was in anguish. I mean, what happened to me was just...
All right. I just explained what happened. So, take note of this date up here. If you can see this, it's barely in the page, but it's October 5th of 2017. So this is 12 days after the Revelation 12 star alignment, okay? So then a couple years had gone by, and all this activity was happening to me, and I'm going through all this craziness. Then I get this little third-person voice. Brian, you missed something. Go back and look. So I went back into my security camera photos, and this was taken the day before. So while I was contemplating how to do that video and putting it all together, this event took place, all right, in my garage, captured on my security camera, and this is October 4th of 2017. All right, so it said the woman was pregnant. She was about to give birth. The dragon stood in front of the woman to devour the child, but the child was born and caught up to God.
Here you can see we're still in the garage with our same display right here. And this was actually captured the day before the other picture, but I hadn't found it for years later until I was digging around through my, my old pictures and stuff, and went even further back to see if I'd missed anything. And I captured this one, and we're going to zoom into this streak right up here, this one right here. Just bear with me for a second here. Now, hopefully, you can see that we have a lady's profile here. Here's her eye, here's her forehead, her snub little nose, here's the bottom jaw. She's smiling, she's looking down, and she's holding a baby. And here's the baby's head right here. Here's the face, the back of the head. Here's her arm cupped around like this, and she's holding the baby. Now, I'm going to run this through the filter real quick, and it's going to enhance it, but a little bit too much. But see, now you can really make out her profile a lot better and see her face, and her headdress is coming over and going down back behind her. And you can still make out the baby's head right here. And maybe if I pull back a little bit, there we go. And this was captured on October 4th. So this was about 11 days after the Revelation 12 sign. All this stuff started happening to me just prior to the Revelation 12 sign, and then right after it. So it said the woman was about to give birth. Well, it looks like maybe she gave birth, and here's the little baby being caught up to God. Now, hopefully, you can see.
There we go. There's a good image right there. All right, let's read Revelation here again. Where'd it go? Oh, So she gave birth. She gave birth to a child, a man child, a boy. And where did that go? The dragon stood in front of the woman who was about to give birth so that he might devour her child the moment it was born. She gave birth to a son, a male child, who will rule all the nations with an iron scepter. And her child was caught up to God and to his throne. His throne is a body, is a person's body. Okay, it's not a big chair. The throne is this baby entered a person's body. Then the woman fled into the desert. Okay, we all know about the rest of that. Okay, so she gave birth to a male child who will rule all the nations with an iron scepter. This child was born in my garage at the moment I was doing the video, trying to produce that wake-up call video, doing what I was commanded to do. Okay, and I put a target on my back doing this. Okay, I lost everything, my credibility, everything. I've been through all kinds of insane stuff because people didn't take a moment to go look. They just said, "Oh, the Revelation 12 baby born in your garage. Ha ha ha! You need some meds. You need a rubber room." No, go look at my channel. You'll see. Oh, yeah, sure. Well, boy, did they miss out, and boy, did I suffer from it. But I learned a lot along the way. Okay, and that's what's valuable. Is what I learned about human behavior along this process. Okay, that's a real image right there. October 4th of 2017, right after the Revelation 12 star alignment. So when you're doing a dot to dot picture, it's a bunch of it's a blank page with a bunch of little dots, right? You can't make out the image in a dot to dot until you start to connect some of the dots, right? So what I'm trying to do is paint a picture here for you guys by connecting the dots. Okay, so this happened in my garage October 4th. The next day I did the video. I'm out there, Mary shows up, angels start showing up, and we got other angels that show up too, like this cool little one right here. On this real quick. Howdy folks, welcome back. So I'm real excited to show you this one. This is an angel that was captured on my security cameras, and now I've run it through the filter here. So if you turn your head to the right about 45 degrees, you can make out the head, the hair, the breasts, it's a female, the torso, the waist, the legs coming down here, a wing coming off here, a wing coming off over here. And we'll zoom in on this real quick because this one's nice and clear that you can. Okay, this angel's laying in the air, hovering in the air at this angle. So you need to tilt your head to this angle to see it. Okay, and I'll move that. You can see a lot better. Okay, there's also this little demon face in the background right here, trying to give the sleeping kid nightmares or whatever. But I'm going to finish this video up really quick here. Okay, and this is an angel that was caught hovering in a shaft of light over this sleeping child down below here. In the same garage. Zoom in on it again. Just excited that you can see it a lot clearer now because before it was kind of faint. And now with these filters, I'm able to make these images pop a little bit more for you guys. Okay, so this little angel right here hovering over the sleeping child captured on security camera. This is a legal angel. Okay, this could be admissible as evidence in a court of law because they use security camera footage to convict criminals all the time. But this time a criminal didn't break in, a little angel broke in instead and left its image on the security camera. So when I'm telling people, hey, I've captured angels that you can see, they interpret that, oh, you're seeing angels? You need medication, you need this, you need a rubber room, right? You're crazy. I said, no, go over to my channel and click on this video and listen closely and look. No, you're seeing angels. We can't entertain your delusions. Ha ha ha. What is going on with this society? I mean, we've had the Bible around for thousands of years. There's been Christians that have believed in this stuff for thousands of years. All of a sudden, one guy says he's captured an angel on film, and you're crazy. So I went through this weird process for everybody. Meanwhile, no doctors, nobody would ever come look at this image until finally I'm on like my 7th psychiatrist. And during one of the sessions, I said, instead of hearing about you, Doc, and all your accomplishments and all your awards on the wall, at the end of this session, can I have 5 minutes of my own session? Well, I guess. Okay, good. In those last 5 minutes, I want you to look at what I've captured. Sure, whatever. So I bust out this image and I show him, and he tilts his head to the right and the jaw drops open. What's wrong, Doc? Are you seeing angels too? Because you folks are seeing angels. Do you need medication? Do you need a rubber room? Yeah, this doctor's jaw kind of dropped, and then he realized, wait a second, what you were telling me was this? Yeah. Are you deaf? Don't you listen? You just jump to conclusions, this, that. I told you I captured them on security camera, and you can see it. Oh, that's what 7 years of torture I went through because somebody misinterprets or just doesn't listen. But for those who do listen and tilt their head to the right and know they're right from the left, because the doctor turned his head to the left, I don't see anything. I'm like, do you even know your right from your left? Seriously, you're my psychiatrist and you don't know your right from your left? How are you going to help me? But then he finally saw it. And then he finally realized, you mean for the last 7 years, the whole thing that was for real? Yeah. And now you realize what you put me through. And he swallowed really hard and retired. But he found the divine realm. I mean, he's retired now and he's doing good. He's grown from this experience. Okay, so real angel right there. Then, as you can see, this stuff is happening in my garage out here, okay? So I got my camera set up all different places. We're capturing angels around the couch, all that kind of stuff. But we're also capturing the demonic realm as well. So fair warning before we do this part, for those of you who don't want to see the demonic realm, you can come back later or just look away. But we're going to show this because it is part of this, okay? I don't glorify this part of the video, but it is important that you know that this realm is real.
Howdy, folks.
When we back
Welcome
that out.
back. So I've been
Right
going
there's
through
good.
some more of these pictures and running them through the filter and stuff. And not only were we finding angels and Mary and stuff, but there's also demons, and I've also found Satan in this stuff too. So as we're looking here at this picture, what I'm talking about is in this mosaic of blotchy white dots that you see this picture is comprised of. When you zoom in really tight in on a picture, you'll see that it's made up of these splotchy little patches and dots. These new digital cameras make these little blotches. Well, hiding in these blotches are faces. And if you haven't seen it yet, there's an eye right here and an eye right here. And when you make eye contact with these two eyes right here, you'll see the mouth fall into place down here. It's snarling. If you look, it's got some kind of streaks or horns or something or wrinkles coming out of its head up here. And this is some kind of demon or principality. You know, other people refer to them as principalities, but this is what I'm talking about, and hopefully you can see this here. This is a pupil right here of an eye. This is a pupil of a bigger eye. Here's the whites of the eye, the white of this eye. These two eyes. Once you look at those, you'll see it falls into place. Maybe I'll pull back a little bit. You can see a little bit better. Zoom in. Right about there is good. And you can make out there's teeth here in this mouth. There's a corresponding mouth with these eyes wrinkles going
Go full
across the
screen.
nose here.
There we go.
This is some kind of demon or principality.
And this isn't
It's
CGI,
tucked
this isn't
away
AI,
in the
this
corner
isn't
of this
Photoshop.
Way back up in here, and you can't even see it as in a normal picture, but you zoom in.
Okay, wait. Go right back to this. This is the couch again. Here's the kid sleeping on the couch. And there was an angel session that was happening during this. Remember, I showed you the demon in the background while the angel was hovering over the kids. Well, in this one frame, there's this demon in amongst several frames of the angels bowing at this moment here too. Okay, so we'll get to that in a minute. But then we also have poltergeist activity happening. Okay.
Couch now, because I've been capturing activity around this couch. And one night I was just sitting on my couch there praying, and wasn't really thinking of capturing anything. Here I was just sitting here praying before I started taking pictures or doing my thing, and it was already running. And lo and behold, there's some kind of demon up here. You'll see some green wings over here kind of flapping, and it lifts up my bike and spits a bolt of energy on it. And I had no idea this happened until I went back through my pictures and stuff. And I put this series into motion in a flip book. And I realized, oh my goodness, look what happened. It picked up my bike and spit a bolt of energy on it.
Imagine if this was happening
This
to
one,
you
can't
and nobody
really see the
believed
face
you.
too well, but you can make out the wings kind of flapping. And we'll pull it over this way a little more. There we go.
Yeah, this stuff's happening to me. Nobody believes me. Yet I capture it, but they won't look.
And this thing turns, picks up my bike, lifts it up, and spits a bolt of energy on it. Okay, there's that. I'll let you look at that one for a second longer.
Okay, yeah, it's coming up here. A lot of stuff is happening in that garage.
Okay, in this series here, I'm sitting on the couch again praying, the camera's set up, and you'll see a purple streak, a bolt come in here, right there, boom. And it hurt. You can see my reaction to it. So we'll let it run again. Here I am sitting here praying. There's all kinds of stuff jumping around in the background, and then zap right there. And that was a real one. I could feel it. And now when I go back, we're gonna go back to the top of that bolt and zoom in on the face. Okay, so here's the frame out of that sequence of me getting hit with that bolt. You can see the bolt coming down here. It's got a kind of a purple hue to it or whatever. And then we're gonna start zooming in to the face up top here, and it's gonna be Satan's face. So you guys ready to see this?
Fair warning.
If not, you might wanna stop the video at this point. But I do not glorify this at all. I do not like to give him attention, but it's important to know that he's real, because he wants everybody to think that he's not real. I think you might be able to see this face without me pointing anything out yet. There we go. Okay, so let me zoom out so I can see it. If you look right here at this eye, this is his crazed eye. The other on the other side is bigger. It's the all-seeing eye. It's a little out of proportion, but then you can make out the side of his face, his jawline coming down, the bottom of his chin, his face going up here. Here's his mouth with some evil kind of grin on it. You can see his ear coming out over here. You can make out horns coming up. And this is in that mosaic of dots again, but these faces pop out and they're more prominent. You can see this one really stands out. And that's Satan right there. You can even make out some wings coming up here. And he's mad. He's mad because I'm praying. And he's spitting bolts of energy at me and spitting on my bike and doing all sorts of crazy stuff.
Okay, so
So,
enough of that.
some
Okay, so got all this activity going on around me. Satan attacking me because of who I am. Now we have this activity taking place in the clouds.
howdy, folks. Welcome back. So these faces that I've been showing you in the last few videos that are in the etherical or in that mosaic that I was talking about are not only taking place there, but now they're taking shape in our clouds. And with this new filter, I was able to go through some of these pictures and it really makes them pop now. So if you can't see it yet, there's an eye here, an eye here, here's the nose, a mouth down below, here's an ear coming back up, the jaw running down, little pointed chin. And this face seems to almost be bisected. One half is like a goblin, and this other half looks like almost like a Wolverine or a Ewok type character. So I'll let you look at that for a minute. And this was pretty faint in the original picture, but now with the filter, it really makes it pop. So, okay, one more, and this one right here, you can make out we have an eye here and an eye right here. Here's the nose, and here's some lips, and it looks like he's blowing. You can make out his ear over here, horns and stuff coming up, his eyebrows. There we go. Now you can see a little bit better.
And he's huffing and puffing, blowing clouds. So the spiritual realm's really in charge of the weather.
Okay, so I wanted to show you that one with the filter, so you can see it turned out pretty good too. So well, that's it for now. I love you all.
So,
I hope you enjoyed this video. And until my
I got all these giant faces in the clouds that follow me everywhere I go. All kinds of different faces too. Different characters, cartoon characters sometimes, biblical characters sometimes, just odd faces in the clouds that watch, follow, and study every move I make. First, it was just very, very unnerving. I didn't know what was going on. And then when nobody believes you either, it was just like really hard.
howdy, folks. Welcome back. So snapping some pictures of clouds.
Whoops. That's one we read too. We'll pull that one up later. I was trying to get to, I just got to type it in. Yes, please. Okay, is that the one? Yeah. So during a lot of these picture sessions, because I take a lot of pictures of the clouds, as you guys can tell, you see this eye forming right here, mouth down here. There's going to be a nose forming right around there. So there's a face starting to form right here in the clouds. So I start taking pictures of it, but that's not what's going on. Well, here, let's just get into this.
Howdy, folks. Welcome back. So I've got so many pictures and so much stuff to cover, and I'm way behind on my videos. So let's just get to it. And I'm going to squeeze a bunch of pictures into one video here. So I started seeing this event right here unfold, and I was looking at this spiral cloud and snapping pictures of that. But something else appeared in this picture, and I'm going to pull over to this little object that's hovering over the mountain here.
Okay, so a UFO. Now, years ago, when I was telling people that UFOs were real, ha ha, he, that was funny. You'd need a medication in a rubber room, right? But I've been plagued with this my whole life since I was a young child. So I saw one during the daytime when I was young, and I knew that they were real, okay? And I've seen thousands and thousands over my lifetime, okay? So I know that they're real. Now, all of a sudden, everybody's late to the game, but they're kind of accepting the fact that, UFOs and UAPs are real, huh? Oh, well, now I don't sound so crazy anymore. It's more accepted, but this UFO activity follows me everywhere I go as well, okay? Every day, everywhere I go, every move I make, there's UFOs watching Every move I make because of who I am. All right. And this is chocked full of different UFOs here. There's this one I captured one time next to an angel cloud. Got a couple different images of the same craft hovering there for a while. Okay. So I was a ufologist. I did UFO stuff. I took millions of pictures of UFOs. I had 80 hours worth of video, but nobody seemed to care. It's like, yeah, you're crazy. So I gave up on the UFO field. But unfortunately, it still follows me because, well, it's part of this. All of the UFO activity is part of the biblical story. Okay. And there's all kinds of different craft that there's another one that shows up in my pictures all the time. I can go into Walmart, get something to drink, come out, and there's a UFO over the parking lot following me home. Okay, so I have UFOs that watch, follow, and study my every move. I got these giant faces in the clouds that watch, follow, and study my every move. We even have advanced races from the past, okay, prior civilizations before this civilization, an epoch, an epoch before us, or whatever.
To report on today, and that's good because I had a revelation last one, and that's this one right here, and it looked like it was this actual model stream yesterday, and I was looking for a thumbnail for it, and I couldn't match up any pictures, wouldn't match up. And it wasn't.
Okay, most of you have seen these little gold trinkets, okay? They're little flying machines with wings, okay? And they got these dragon-type looking heads instead of a cockpit with a pilot in it, okay? Now, these are gold trinkets or whatever that probably humans made as a dedication to an event that they had. So these are flying aircraft that existed 1,000 years ago. So an advanced race from the past in their flying machines are now watching, following, and studying every move I make. All right, there's the same craft right there in the clouds. All right, their cloaking devices cause water vapor to condensate and form into cloud. So some of their cloaking mechanisms, the clouds will mimic the shape of the cloaking device. And if it's cloaking a disc-shaped object, well, you get a disc-shaped cloud. If it's cloaking a airplane-shaped object, well, you're going to get a airplane-shaped cloud. This was captured in some of my photos here. It was in the background hovering over another UFO or whatever, but this is that same object. It's this very model right there. You can see the corresponding vertical stabilizer there. Okay, so I think everybody's in agreement here that this is the same object as this little trinket. Okay, and this is an advanced race that knew how to fly 1,000 years ago. Okay, so this culture, this race, this advanced civilization from a prior era is here in the clouds, watching, studying at my every move. Okay, guys, connecting dots. Good, good, good. Then we're going to come over here to this one. And we're going to pull up. Where'd it go? Oh, there it is. You going to play it or not? Thank you, YouTube.
So, this is like one. We got you at April 20th, and I've been taking pictures every day because I've been seeing these events unfold in the sky every day now. So I've been getting lots of pictures and not even enough time to process them yet, but here we go. So this one I saw unfolding when I was driving, and I couldn't take a picture until I got to this stoplight. So I squeezed off as many pictures as I could at this stoplight, and we're going to start zooming in, pulling it over a little bit, and maybe some of you see it now. But there's Yoda in the sky right there.
Actually, let's too zoomed in.
Take a picture until I got to this stoplight.
Let's
So
get
I
right.
squeezed off as many pictures as I could.
Actually, this is good right here. You can see his domed head, his ears coming out. There's a stubby little nose, his eyes, chubby little cheeks, stubby little chin right here. So this giant Yoda head right here. Okay, we're gonna go in just a tad bit tighter.
Right, and we're gonna start.
Okay, there we go. Hopefully you can see it pretty well there. This big giant Yoda head in the sky. Now Yoda is a master. He's an ascended master. Okay, so I have ascended masters like Yoda that watch, follow, and study my every move. Advanced races from the past, ascended masters, all study what I do. They all watch every move I make. Like being under a microscope. It's so weird. And yet nobody else notices. Everybody else in the whole universe knows and watches, but nobody's noticing. It's the weirdest thing. Okay, so there's Yoda right there, giant Yoda head in the sky. And you can see how big it is compared to the Sierra Nevadas down below here. So these faces are huge in the clouds. They're not just like tiny little faces. They're so big in the clouds. Okay, so there's that one. And then, what else are we going to do now? And then, all of a sudden, the faces in the clouds start to change.
Today, and I noticed something forming in the clouds, what looked like a face over here. And I'm going to start zooming in on this face because it's a real face. And if you look back behind it here, let's zoom in just a little bit. You'll notice that back behind here, this face is being projected by Jesus's heart right here. You can see it radiating out. Here's Jesus's face. He's pulling open his shirt, exposing his heart. His heart's radiating out this image in the sky. See his face here? And there's a crown right here. Also in the etherical, in black, there's another crown right here.
This is actually an alien face with an eye, half the face illuminated. So this alien race or whatever witnessed this event.
And this face, I recognize this face. I know who this is. I know who this face is. I see him every morning in the mirror.
Yeah. What would you do if you saw your face being projected in the clouds? Wouldn't that freak you out? Wouldn't you just be like, what the heck is going on? Why is my face showing up in the clouds? So let's continue on really quick here.
That's not all. I got another one. And a few moments later, in this image, I took a picture of the same cloud, but this is at a different angle. I rotated it 90 degrees. And I want you to look right up in here. You can see that there's a face, two eyes, smile. Here's the head. And the arms are outstretched, and he's holding a cell phone taking pictures of the sky. This is an image of me taking the pictures of the clouds. So the clouds are now mimicking me taking pictures of them.
Love you too. I love all you guys. Very painful.
Crazy. Tilt your head to the right a little bit and you can see it a lot clearer.
Very painful for me to hold the cell phone up. I got torn rotator cuffs, shattered shoulder, broken arms. So to hold the camera up at a 45 degrees and all the blood rush out of your arms start to shake and the heart starts to race until you pass out.
And that's what I do. I hold that camera up there until I pass out. My kids are like, Dad, what are you doing? Trying to kill yourself? But that's my face showing up in the clouds again, and they're acknowledging, the clouds are acknowledging, the spiritual realm is acknowledging me taking pictures of it. It's mimicking me taking pictures of it. That says a lot right there. At first I was like freaked out. What the heck is this? But then it occurred to me, wait a second, now I get it. They're acknowledging that, yeah, we see you taking pictures of us, or the clouds are kind of acknowledging that, yeah, we see you taking pictures of the clouds. Then that's how we get to this part now. We get to the Christmas gift, which I entitled Christmas gift, but it happened on Easter. What appears to be... Okay, so here we go with this one. Then we'll do a reading. Howdy, folks. Welcome back. So I know there's a lot of activity going on the sun, but I really don't feel like reporting on that stuff right now. Actually, I want to go back and revisit an event that happened earlier this year, 2020, around Easter, when I captured what appears to be Jesus in the clouds here. So I need you to tilt your head to the right about 45 degrees, and here's an eye, his other eye, his nose, chin and beard, his hair flowing back like this, and you can make out a crown up here above his head. And that crown is hovering over his head. There seems to be almost a little halo around his head too. And once you see that image, we can zoom in just a little bit tighter. There you go. Okay, and this event happened over a course of about an hour, and I got a lot of pictures of it. See, if we go up above here, you can see all these pictures up from way over here going across, or all of this event, and I'm going to show you more of what happened here. Okay, here I've taken about 7 or 8 of those pictures and put them together in a flip book, and you can see the different images, and that this event, is taking place here because there's more that happens here. Okay, so starting here, we're going to go forward a little bit here through a lot of these images. Kind of keeping it small so you can see it better. To right about here, where you can see that this face has changed now. Now we're seeing a more round, like lion type face with a nose right here. Here's an eye coming out here, an eye going that way. Here's its mouth slit, the chin going down here. So this round face right here with a crown still above it. Now I'm going to go through and show you the flip book where it changes from Jesus to this lion face. Okay, now we're here at this image right here. This is a flip book of about maybe 15 or 20 of those pictures, and it's the transition between Jesus's face and the lion face. Now this happened in the clouds, and it was so big and in your face you couldn't see it. It wasn't until I took these images and zoomed out. Just like that image of the object next to the sun. The Nibiru and Nemesis, the Nemesis object, it was so big in your face that you couldn't see it. You had to compress the image and zoom out. Okay, these are in a different dimension. They're bigger than your perspective. If you could step outside your body and walk a couple miles back and turn around, then you could have that perspective, but you can't. You're stuck in your body. Zoom in. They're too big in your face. You have to zoom out to see these. And these images that you're looking at have all been compressed, each frame, and then put into a flip book. And you can clearly see Jesus's face here with his crown hovering over his head, turning into that weird little lion face or whatever right there. Okay? All right. So now you understand how we got to that point. All right? When I show you these images that we read to and stuff, now you'll understand how we got to this point. We got these images now. They're, whoopsie. Can I have Google, please? Yeah, and this set of pictures that I took on Easter here, April 17th, 2020.
It's all those images right there, all stacked on top of each other into a flip book. These ones I just rotated 90 degrees so you could see them, but they were at that same angle. And then there was another event on the other side of this mountain unfolding, so I took pictures of that and the other event at the same time. I'm switching back and forth. My heart's racing. I'm passing out. I'm trying to do the best I can. Kids are like, "What's wrong with you, Dad? Stop. Let's go. They're just clouds." And I'm like, "You can't see that?" And they're like, "No, they're just clouds." But I squeezed off a bunch of pictures of that whole event. Okay. But the main part was right in there. Okay. So real images. That's why I did all the dot to dot work here tonight, is so you guys will understand how real these images are. Okay. That's what gives you the hope. That's what gives you, gives you more insight. Okay. Let's just put it that way. All right. So pull up a couple more images here. And then since this, there's all those other faces in the clouds. The face out by the moon has happened since then. So this activity continues to this day. And now we're having more drones activity as well. All kinds of weather phenomena and stuff. Okay. Oh, come on now. Give me this. There we go. And then here we go again with my face showing up next to the moon. All right. Out in space. How do you fake this? How do you fake something out in space that's as big as the moon? Okay. Or, not as big, but sitting right next to the moon. And this isn't a cloud layer. This face is being illuminated by the moon right next to it right here. Okay. So we are in that season. And all this stuff is happening. It's all going on all over the place, and people are missing out. They are totally missing out. They're too wrapped up in the news and the world. They're stuck in the world. And they have no idea that this is going on. All right, we're going to finish this up real quick with this reading real quick here.
Just to kind of go in on these up, so snapping some pictures of the face over here, and I'm gonna start zoom.
That's good right there. All right, so hopefully you guys kind of put the dots together, and now you can see the picture I'm trying to paint for you here. Okay, it's very difficult to do. Okay, I've been through a lot of crazy stuff and been not believed. Okay, it's been very painful. My body is shattered. I barely walk. It's been excruciatingly painful. But I do it for you guys because I love you. Okay, I risked everything. I put it all on the line for you guys. And now you can see that we're close to the end and we're waiting. So while you wait with me, I work on renewing your mind. As the light of my presence shines into your mind, darkness flees and deception is unmasked. However, there are many crevices where old thought patterns try to hide. My spirit can search out and destroy those enemies, but he waits for your cooperation. Habitual ways of thinking do not die easily. So when the Spirit's light illuminates a hurtful thought, capture it by writing it down. If you're having a hurtful thought, capture it, write it down, then bring it to me so we can examine it together. I will help you identify the distortions and replace them with biblical truth. Okay, everybody is living in this weird distortion right now. I'm trying to replace that with biblical truth. So the more you focus on me and my word, the more you can break free from the painful, irrational thoughts. They usually have their roots deeply etched into your brain, so you may need to recapture the same thought multiple times before you can gain mastery over it.
Okay, sometimes you don't realize what that hurtful thought is. You have to experience it. You have to recapture it several times to gain mastery over it. But all that effort leads to a marvelous result, an increased ability to live freely and enjoy my presence. Enjoy my presence, not fear my presence. Enjoy it. All that effort leads to a marvelous result, the increased ability to live freely. The increased ability to live freely and to enjoy my presence. I guess that one. No, this one right here. You're seeing that heart right there, okay? You're realizing that this is all real. Your prayers, you guys are practicing real prayers now, heartfelt, sincere prayers. And your prayers are not cries in the dark. They rise to my kingdom of glorious light. So call to me, and I will answer you and show you great and mighty things. Have I just shown you great and mighty things? Mankind has long been plagued with eyes that do not see what is most important. People often fail to perceive the most obvious things. People often fail to perceive the most obvious things. And I can perform miracles before their very eyes, yet they only see mundane occurrences or label them as coincidences. Yeah, it's some coincidence. The clouds just shaped this guy with sunglasses pulling open his shirt, exposing his heart. That's quite a coincidence there. And look at all these coincidences. Wow. Most people label this stuff mundane or coincidences. They cannot see it, but you guys can. I perform miracles before their very eyes, yet they only see mundane occurrences. Oh, it's just a fire. Oh, it's just an earthquake. Oh, it's just a volcano. All these things are miracles when you see them through the right perspective. Okay? These are miracles right here that you're looking at. These clouds do this trickery for me. I perform miracles, but people label them as mundane or coincidences. And something else, it's only the eyes of your heart that can perceive spiritual realities. The eyes of your heart is what helps you see this image. Okay, now, I delight in people who have a teachable attitude. So when you come to me eager to learn great things which you do not know, I rejoice. A good teacher takes pleasure in a student who puts forth extra effort to discover new things. I am pleased with your desire to learn the wondrous things from me. Your openness to my teachings helps you understand the hope to which I have called you, the riches of my glorious inheritance in which you share. You can look forward to living with me in the holy city where the glory of God provides the light. Where the glory of God provides the light. So as your world grows increasingly dark, remember that you are the light of the world. Don't waste energy lamenting bad things over which you have no control. You can't control those fires. You can't lamenting over bad things which you have no control. But pray about these matters, but refuse to let them haunt your thoughts. Don't let them haunt your thoughts. You can think about them, but pray about them. Don't let them haunt your thoughts. Instead, focus your energies on doing what you can to brighten the place where I have put you. Brighten the place where I have put you, okay? Use your time, talents, and resources to push back the darkness. Shine my light into the world. I am the true light that shines on in the darkness, even in the most terrible conditions. Your light originates in me and reflects from you. So just like this, it reflects from you. Just your face is reflecting my light just like this into other people's lives. If you want, even the most terrible conditions, the light originates in me and reflects from you. I have called you to reflect my glory. And you do this most effectively by becoming more and more fully the one I designed you to be. So spend ample time seeking my face. Focusing on my presence and my word helps you to grow in grace and discern my will. Your time spent with me nourishes your soul, providing comfort, encouragement, and strength. Thus, I strengthen you and enable you to be a source of strength for others. I strengthen you so you can be a source of strength for others. That same strength you get from this show, you can bring that into other people's lives. Okay, especially right now with what's going on all around the world and with the threat of terrorism looming over the planet, some people are saying and feeling that there is no place that's really safe. In one sense, this is true. Evil people, especially terrorists, are unpredictable and ruthless. However, for Christian believers, there is no place that is actually unsafe. Understand that here. Everybody else has no safe place, but for Christian believers, there is no place that is unsafe. Your ultimate home is heaven, and no one can rob you of this glorious inheritance that can never perish, spoil, or fade. Excuse me there. Also, know that I am sovereign over everything, including your life and your loved ones. So nothing can happen to you or to them except what I allow. The truth is, the world has been at war ever since Adam and Eve first sinned. The fall in the Garden of Eden rendered the earth a dangerous place. The fall rendered the earth a dangerous place where good and evil contend against each other continually. So it's crucial to be alert and self-controlled. It's crucial to be alert and self-controlled. Remember that your ultimate enemy, the devil, has already been defeated. I have overcome the world, and you are on the winning side. You are overcoming the world as well. You're on my side. In me, you have peace, and in me, you are always safe. I have overcome the world. That's what you guys are doing day by day. The issues of the world come at you and they try to take you down and try to get you depressed and scared. Well, you got to overcome that, right? And overcomers. What do we say about overcomers? What is that part in the Bible? That's that here. Revelation 22, was it? 22? Revelation 22, where'd it go? Okay, yeah, we're here at Revelation 22, right around verse 3 and 4. No longer will there be any curse. The throne of God and of the Lamb will be in the city, and his servants will serve him. They will see his face, and his name will be on their foreheads or in their mind. So you will see the face of God. A lot of people say that you never do.
but his servants who are overcomers will be able to see his face because they're overcomers. I understand that. If you weren't able to overcome your situations, this would probably scare the daylights out of you. But it doesn't. You're able to overcome, aren't you? The scary stuff like this stuff in the sky, real miracles taking place, that's disturbing. But it doesn't disturb you. You're able to overcome it. And you're overcoming the world. Each little success you have is a glory. Okay? Something ruins your day. Don't let it ruin your day. Take a minute, pray, do something to take your mind off of it, especially focusing on this really helps. And then you can go about your day. Something else stumbles. Whoops, you regain composure and move on. We were likening this to, a marathon or whatever. How about an obstacle course? Because that's what life really is, is an obstacle course. All these obstacles, some trip you up, other ones you get over or go around or whatever, some you go through. But life is like an obstacle course and they knock you down. So what do? You get up, you brush the dirt off, and you continue through the course. Now, not everybody's a participant in the obstacle course. There's people on the sidelines, but you are a participant. You have an actual, like a jacket on with a number, a contestant. It shows that you're a contestant in this obstacle course. Okay. And just because you're a believer does not guarantee your life's going to go smooth. It means that you're up against the devil. He's going to attack you even harder. So you're going to need these tools. And with practice and experience, okay, like the experience I went through, okay, I learned a lot from that. And now I don't self-proclaim to be an expert, but the root word of expert is experience. So you can't be an expert if you haven't experienced it. Well, I've experienced some of this stuff, okay? And I can tell you that these tools that I'm teaching you guys really help, okay, even in your day-to-day life. All right. Every time you overcome an obstacle, you're getting a glory. And then you overcome another obstacle. It's another glory. You overcome another obstacle. Sometimes it's 5 in a day. Sometimes there's no obstacles. But you're going from glory to glory to glory while you're going through your tribulation. Okay. If you look around, the whole world's against Christian believers. You got everybody up against you. Wrong. So it's you versus the world. So you're a spiritual warrior. You got to hold your head up, lift your head up, keep your chin up, keep your morale high, keep your morale up. Okay. When you realize you're a contestant in the obstacle course, then you realize, oh, these are obstacles that I have to overcome. It's not just God being mean to you. It makes you stronger. Each time you overcome one of these obstacles, you're just getting stronger and stronger and stronger and more confident. And the more confident, then you have some peace. And in these times that are driving people crazy, you have this odd peace. And it's because you're taking these disciplines and putting them into practice. When you take disciplines and put them into practice, that makes you a disciple by default. Okay, disciplines, actually doing it, disciple. Pretty easy stuff. And if you see this face right here in the clouds, the long hair and this crown over it, that's my face coming in the clouds with power and great glory. It's fascinating. It's intriguing stuff. You get caught up in it like a good YouTube live stream that we've been doing for 2 hours and 20 minutes here. You've been caught up for 2 hours and 20 minutes. Caught up. And at this part of the show, you're caught up with me in the clouds, where we meet in the air of cyberspace here live on YouTube. I can't come over to your house and give you a big old hug right now. I'd love to. But in the meantime, I get to meet my family in the air, where I've provided a place here at YouTube that where I am, you may be also, that you can come over here and get caught up with me in the clouds. All right. And you're doing your salvage work while we wait. Okay. And It's making you stronger. You're getting experience. You're going to be an expert at spiritual warfare because you've been doing it every day, multiple times per day. You've got it. You're getting well versed at it. Maybe not an expert at it, but you're getting well versed at it. You're getting experience at it. Therefore, when something comes down the pike, unexpected at you, you'll know how to handle it. Okay, that's why I do this. I try to bring you the real tools that you will need, the real meat in due season. Because of who I am. Okay, all this stuff is happening to me because of who I am, and it continues to happen. It's a daily basis. It's still this spiritual warfare still going on. Okay, this stuff still follows me in the clouds everywhere I go, and it's increasing in activity too. Okay, it's increasing. It's not just here, there, one day, not this day. No, it's every day now. So it's intensifying, and it's because, well, of who I am. Okay, and that makes you somebody special. That makes you a part of a very special family here. This YouTube family here at this channel is a royal family, not like these clowns over in England. Okay, I call them that. They're clowns over there. This is a real royal family right here. See that crown? See that crown? That's a real royal family, huh? If you want to be part of this real family, you can be. If you trust me, believe me, you see what I went through, okay? And I still have all this stuff, and still, you're the only people that pay attention. But lucky you, because now you have those tools that are going to carry you forward, okay? You're doing great too, you guys. And when you think you failed miserably, because sometimes I get that, dang it, there was an opportunity. I missed it. I failed miserably, but you didn't. You realized there was an opportunity. Most people didn't even see the opportunity. At least you recognized there was an opportunity. You may have missed it, but then you bounce back, regain composure, so the next opportunity you won't miss it, right? Okay, and we're helping our fellow brothers through this tribulation, brothers and sisters, okay, family and friends too. Okay. I think I connected the dots. Hopefully I painted a picture for you that you can see. And then when you can see the picture in front of you, then it will sink in. The revelation, little light bulb will go off in your head and you're going to go, wait a second, I'm part of that family? Oh yeah, I think I like this. All right. Meanwhile, I got to go. I love you guys. I miss you guys. And until my next show, I will be back. See, I'm a man of my word. I told you I would be back. I am already back. Have been for a while. And now you guys are part of that family. Okay? Trust and believe. Okay? A lot of people didn't trust and believe me through this whole process, and they suffered. But for the people who do trust and believe me, well, something miraculous happens in your life, even in replay, okay? That's it. Gotta go. Love you all. I will be back. I am already back. Can't you tell?